Hello and welcome to Boomer Banter, where we have real talk about aging well. My name is Wendy Green and I am your host. And every week we talk about the challenges, the changes, and the possibilities that come with this season of life. And one of my favorite parts of doing this podcast is staying connected with all of you between the episodes. That's why I send out the free Thriving Through Time newsletter, and I would love for you to sign up for it. And you can do that by going to bit.ly/boomer banter newsletter. It's a quick read. I talk about good news. I talk about recommendations for ways to age well. I give you insights into who's coming up as my next guest, and I would really enjoy being connected with you. So check out bit.ly/boomer banter newsletter. And when most people think about retirement, they picture golf courses, beach days, early bird specials, and endless days of nothing. Well, but what if that's not really retirement at all? What if that's just checking out? My guest today has spent decades proving that the most vital years of our lives might just be the ones that come after we're supposed to slow down. Randall Kenneth Jones is a storyteller in the truest sense of the word. He's the founder and president of MindZoo, a creative communications firm that helped shape narratives for companies like Geico and TJ Maxx. He's the co-creator and host of the podcast On the Nose with Randall Kenneth Jones, where he's interviewed everyone from Aaron Brockovich to Norman Lear. And he's authored 2 acclaimed books. But here's what makes Randy's story so compelling. He didn't start this journey until he was 50 years old, at an age when many people are coming down to retirement. Randy was just getting started. And at 63, he's more engaged, more creative, and more purposeful than ever. In our conversation today, we're going to talk about what he calls the retirement business. Not retiring from work, but creating a business and a life that sustains your retirement with purpose, meaning, and yes, income. We'll explore why celebrating retirement might actually be a red flag, and how living in Naples, Florida taught him how to age, and why his father's advice at age 66 changed everything. This is a conversation about never retiring from purpose. So let's welcome Randall Kenneth Jones to Boomer Banter. Hey, Randy, good to see you.
Oh, your intro was stunning.
Oh,
Wendy,
thank
thank
you.
you. No, I mean, it already has my head going in a million different directions. So, thank you. That was a really stunning way to set this up because I think this is so important. And please let me start by thanking you for hosting this
Well,
show and having these topics and talking about engagement and talking about remaining vital and living and being a mentor, being a guide, having purpose. I know it's not just me. You do this all the time.
I
You're
do
a
this all the
coach to
time,
people who
Randy.
are going through this, Wendy, and I applaud you for how you are choosing to spend this part of your life. And I thank you
Well,
for doing that.
oh, it's my pleasure. And meeting people like you who are talking about the same thing is very empowering and inspiring. So I'm excited to share all of
Mm.
this with the audience. So you had mentioned in one of our pre-calls that your father called you when you were only 35, and he said, Randy, this retirement thing is not going to work for you.
And
At
he was at
35.
92. We lost him at 92, and he remembered at 92 saying it. He was basically forced to retire from a job he'd spent in his entire life. in the Midwest. I live in Columbia, Missouri now. I'm returning, actually. We're getting ready to move back to Naples, Florida. And we lived in Naples, Florida before. And he called me at, he's 66. He'd been retired for a year. He was bored. And he said, Randy, this retirement thing is not all it's cracked up to be. This is not going to work for you. So you need to understand now this isn't going to work for you. And so I am now 63. And he remembers saying this. And I've known all along it wouldn't work, because if I can't create, if I'm not creating something, a podcast, writing a book, speaking to an audience, and creating the content that is going to be used in that presentation, I'm nothing. And he
So
knew that about me at that age, and
he knew that at
that
35.
tone. Yeah, he
Wow.
set that tone, and I've always known it, and he remembered saying it. Yeah,
That's amazing. So what
yeah.
is it about like not creating, like of just relaxing that might be so uncomfortable to you?
I'm wired to create. The just relaxing thing, I don't do it well. I've never done it well. I mean, I can relax and watch TV, but chances are I'm evaluating what I'm seeing. I'm thinking all the time. My company's name is MindZoo. I've had this
Right.
company for 25 years. My friend Chris actually said to me, "Why do people buy from you?" This is how we came up with the name. Why do people buy from you? And literally, it took me 1 minute to have this name, because I was like, well, they say, "Oh, that brain of yours. How did you come up with it? That's so creative. Wow. Nice place to visit. I don't think I could live there," meaning my brain.
In your
And
brain.
literally, yeah, within 1 minute, I had MindZoo as this representation of my thought process. And I've always been that way. And when that insatiable curiosity and that desire to create and think and live leaves me, I think I'm done with life.
Hmm.
I that's who I am. It's just, and
It's
I've
just a
always known that. This is
yeah.
this is not this is not new. I've always known. My sister Paula asked me recently, she goes, "Do you ever stop thinking?" I went, "No.
It's just
I
part of who
I
you
really
are.
don't." Yeah, it's just part of who I am. But I'm proud of that. And I own it, and I honor it, and I'm proud of it.
Hey, we all have to own and honor who we are, and that's part of what we're going to talk about today, right? So we
Mhm,
don't retire from who we are. We retire to who we are and how we want to be.
mhm,
So I
mhm.
think that's brilliant that you own it and you love it.
But this support of aging isn't new to me. I was in junior high, not middle school. I was in
Not
junior
middle
high.
school then. Yep.
No, don't get me started on that middle school nonsense. I was in junior high in the 70s, and I was a competitive speaker.
Oh,
And I was 14 or 15, and one year my topic was the rights of the elderly. I'm sure that's the term I used. But here I'm in the mid 70s,
huh.
and I'm an advocate for the elderly
At
at
14.
13, 14, 15,
Wow.
at a time period where it was like, granny and grandpa are going to the home. Nobody was talking about that.
Wow.
It just wasn't something that was talked about. But I also look at, I had a, a great grandmother who lived to be 100. My father
Uh-huh.
lived to be 92. I've had so many relatives. My grandmother's sisters all lived to be in their 90s. So genetically, I might still be here a while. I could be gone tomorrow, but I have to plan on being here for a while
You
and be
might.
purposeful in that process. That's part of the plan.
So why don't we do this? We'll plan on when we're both 100. We'll come back and be on the podcast again together.
I'm all about it. I'm all
Maybe
about it.
before that, but
I'm all about it.
so you talked about Naples, Florida, and you're moving
Mhm.
back there, and you said something about learning something about aging when you were in Naples. What could you learn there?
Florida taught me how to age.
So what does that mean?
Naples opened the door for me, because Naples, if anybody knows anything about Naples, Florida, we lived there for 14 years. We did come to Missouri. My father was still living. The goal was I'd been gone for 40 years. Let's spend time with dad. Sadly, I only had him for 7 months.
Oh,
7 months I'm grateful that I had,
yeah.
but now that it's been a few years and we're like, "Mm, Mid-Missouri is lovely. It's my hometown, but it's not suiting my needs." Naples has so many extraordinary people who are gifted and have accomplished so many things. So the access that I had to extraordinarily talented people, it was how I catapulted this whole interviewing, book writing, column writing, public speaking, podcasting thing, was because I had access in Naples. But I also arrived in Naples at 47 when I
Mhm.
was feeling very middle aged, and I found out, oh, I'm really young.
Yeah,
In
that's right.
Florida, I was really young. So I
Yes.
was there from 47 to 61,
Okay.
and I'm all about health. I'm all about staying healthy, exercise, diet. I understand those things. I respect them. I appreciate them. I promote them. However, what I really noticed by living in Naples with the people who were engaged mentally, the people who still wanted to learn, the people who were listening, the people who were willing to learn, wouldn't just go in and say, "You're so lucky I'm on your board because I'm going to give you my wisdom. Aren't you lucky?" Well, you're there to learn too. The
Mhm.
people that were engaged with their thought, with their learning, they were the happiest people. It was not the golf course people. It was not the pickleball people. It was not the people that, I think you referenced it early on, shut down.
Mhm.
It was the people who maintained momentum and learning and being aware
Yeah.
and having reasons to think, critical thinking. Those were the people that were happiest. And money had nothing to do with that. Money had nothing to do. Thinking doesn't cost you anything. It just doesn't. And I have a podcast. You have a podcast. There's a lot of different ways you can, for free, have access to thoughts, to people who are going to help you think. Doesn't cost you any money. It was huge. It was so life altering, and I'm so grateful that I better understood my own aging process, and it solidified my goal and desire to know I ain't done yet.
No, you're not. You
Mhm.
got lots to do. And so I agree. Long-term learning, lifelong learning. My grandmother used to say, when you stop learning, you're dead. And I agree with
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
I mean, there's always something to learn. It doesn't even have to be book learning. It can be learning how to grow plants or learning to locate stars. It doesn't have to be something like you have to go to school and learn.
Listening with purpose, listening with intent, having real conversations where you ask questions and you process what you're hearing. That's learning.
That's
That's
learning.
engagement. That's engaging in the world around you, and that's so important, and I wanna be able to continue to do that.
So you started MindZoo, you said around your 50s?
30s. No, it's
And
25 years old. Yeah, I've been
okay,
doing this for 25 years. The company's 25 years old.
so
This
it was
this writer,
right,
speaker, podcaster, interviewer part has been since I was 50, so that's 13 years old.
okay, and so before that, what were you doing, Randy, that was creative?
Creative. Yeah, I was creating content and doing what I still do, working with companies to tell their stories through whatever media is necessary, whether it's online, whether it's offline, whether it was direct mail, whether it was print, whether it's video, whatever, however you need to tell a story, because storytelling is it. We're taught as kids, where people read us stories as kids. We spend how much money on Netflix and all the streaming services to hear stories, to have stories, and that's what sells. And so I help people and organizations, nonprofits, which I love, devise strategies for how to tell their story to the right people in a way that matters.
And so how do you use those stories now to talk about purpose and to talk about learning?
That's what I do. That is all I do, really. My keynotes when I go out is typically a series of stories. I repackage what I've learned from 300 some odd people in these best practices interviews, and I tell the stories of what they've told me, what they've taught me, and I credit them with the lesson. I'm it's really important to me to say that so many people hear something and all of a sudden it becomes theirs. They're claiming that as their knowledge. No, if I learned something from Aaron Brockovich, I credit Aaron. If I learned something from Pat Benatar, I credit Pat. I credit the person who taught me, because what I'm really teaching is, by crediting that person, I'm trying to get you to think, who in your life, who can you talk to, can you learn from? Who do you have access to? What was crazy in Naples is you didn't know who you were standing in line next to at Walgreens. I was in a
Really?
play. I'm an actor, and I was in a
Mhm.
play, and there was a gentleman, Jack, who was the producer of the show. He was just
Mhm.
a man working on the same play I was working on at Naples. I
Uh-huh.
found out 3 months later he's Jack McKinney. He's the former head coach of the LA Lakers. He's
Anyway,
Magic Johnson's first professional basketball coach,
and he was the
and he's
director of the show?
no, he was the producer. He was
The
the producer
producer?
of the show. But he's just, and I had no idea. And I wasn't, I don't follow
Bas
sports.
Yeah.
I'm tall, but well, actually, I will say, through him, I called Magic Johnson. And
Uh-huh.
I said, I want to thank you, Magic, for having the career that I was actually meant to have. I said, but I was so bad in junior high. I was on the C team.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not
And
talking third string.
uh-huh.
I'm talking A team strings, B team strings, C team. That's how bad I was. So, but here everyone has a story, and he went on. Jack is actually, his story is part of. I guess it's on HBO. There's a series about the Lakers that's out there, and
Oh, okay.
the gentleman Tracy Letts, who played Jack, got nominated for an Emmy for playing my friend. But you just never know what people know if you don't engage in the conversation with them.
Oh gosh. That's right. That's right. You gotta talk to people. So,
Mhm,
so you talked about just a little while ago, you talked about this intellectual and mental engagement,
mhm.
you know, that's critical for us to age well, age healthily. But a lot of people, as I said in the opening, they kind of tune out, they play golf, they'll watch TV, they're kind of afraid to try something new. And I know that's not your fear. That's not my fear. We try. But how do you encourage people on your show that are listening to try something new, to that you don't have
Oh,
to slow down?
I'm a Virgo. You are so wrong. I
Ah,
am
oh, am I?
everything has a plan.
Oh,
Change for the longest time was difficult for me.
really?
Now, yeah,
Okay.
very much a leap of faith, but I will give you a story.
Okay.
So I am interviewing Susie Orman
Mhm. The
for my
financial
column,
coach.
and she's featured in my first book, Show Me. I interview Susie. Fascinating, fascinating. I loved her show. For some reason, her wife, KT, liked me well enough to say, and I don't know why, you need to come to Boca, I think it was, and take an art class with my sister, Lynn Stender. And she's brilliant. Lynn Stender, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant woman. And my immediate thought was, I can't draw, I can't paint, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. I caught myself and I went, no, Randy, part of your mantra is you don't say you can't. Every time
Mhm.
we say I can't, we hold ourselves back.
That's right.
Don't say you can't. And I fessed up, and I told Susie and I told KT, I said, I caught myself. My immediate response was thank you, but no, I can't do this. I don't have this talent, which means I have to do it. And my husband and I and our two 20-something kids took advantage of this opportunity. We traveled across the state. Lynn was brilliant. We took a watercolor class with her, something I never thought I would do. What I didn't know was that Susie was coming back to evaluate our work.
Ah.
So I'm very proud of myself because I did something I said I couldn't do. And it, in my mind, wasn't awful. Now, I will tell you, I could see in Susie's face, don't quit your day job. Now, I could see that.
Okay.
And I
Which
wasn't going
is
to quit my
fine.
day job, but I was there and I did it. And
So,
we have to fight the urge to say no. We have to tell ourselves, no, we can do that. I'm going to give you another example. This book, Ruby,
uh-huh.
I told myself for years I couldn't write fiction.
Okay.
I said, I can only write nonfiction.
Uh-huh. I can write
Mark
com.
Victor Hansen from Chicken Soup for the Soul comes to me and says, have you written fiction? And I said, as a matter of fact, I have. Mark Victor Hansen discovered this book. He published my book, Ruby. He published it. But let me tell you how it got there to be there. Little movie called Dirty Dancing. A few people have seen it. Little movie called Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
A wonderful woman named Cynthia Rhodes plays Penny, who is really the reason the story happens. She's the professional dancer who gets pregnant that causes the plot line to really evolve. And I was lucky enough to interview Cynthia for my first book. Probably, I think, the only journalist who's talked to her in 35 years. She retired to raise her kids, and I honor her and I salute her and I love her. And I was on stage actually in Naples in a production of Young Frankenstein, the musical, as the monster.
Oh, you were the monster.
So I am a tap dancing monster. I'm 7 feet tall. I'm green. I've got, I'm doing tap dancing in front of Cynthia Rhodes from Dirty Dancing, which was an out of body experience anyway, to think that she's watching me dance as a 7 foot tall monster.
Right.
It was crazy. But we got to know each other, and I love her so much, and I admire her talent so much. And I said to her, oh, no, I can't write fiction. I can't do that. That's not my thing. I can't. She told me I was wrong. She just told me I guess she took out her Cynthia Rhodes fairy dust. She is perfect, by the way. And somehow throws it on me and says, you're wrong. You can do whatever you want. And she lifted that no from me. She lifted it. A week later, I had the outline for this book.
You started
for
writing.
Ruby.
Yeah.
And this is primarily the book that it ended up. And the character, the main character, is not Ruby. It is a woman named Cynthia.
Oh.
Who is inspired, not the story of, but inspired by Cynthia Rhodes. And what the two women have in common, Cynthia in the book and Cynthia Rhodes, is they find challenge interesting.
Yes.
They find it interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, so if you find yourself telling yourself no, pull a Randy, man, and just don't do it. Yeah.
So that is
tell yourself yes.
Yeah, that's so interesting and surprising to me, Randy, because you are an actor, standing up on a stage in some kind of crazy costume, being some kind of character that's not you. To me, that sounds frightening, right? But for me, I mean, give me a challenge and I'm going to be like, yeah, I can do that. I mean, I love it.
Now, the other thing, and I don't know if you've experienced this, if I get pitched a guest with a topic that fits, I tend to be arts, entertainment, creativity, and connection. Those are kind of my 4 pillars. And if I get pitched a guest who fits one of those, but it's something I know nothing about, and if that topic scares me, I say yes without hesitation. I wouldn't have 20 years ago. But I'm like, no, if it scares me, I must say yes.
Yeah.
The advantage, Wendy, you and I have, and my advice is to tell people, live the life of a journalist. I don't have any choice in order to do my job other than to listen thoughtfully and carefully and really process what I hear.
That's
know
right.
that.
You got to be curious.
We can't listen like normal people. We can't have, we have to listen for detail, for depth, for meaning. And that's the way we have to live our life in order to do our jobs. And when you take that skill that you learn doing what we do and you apply it to, I'm in line at the grocery store and I'm having a conversation, you apply that focus on that conversation. It's great. When I first started this, I answered the phone. I'm probably 2 months into doing this. And I answered the phone and I hear, Randy, Regis Philbin here.
Regis Philbin.
There is nothing to prepare you to hear Randy Regis Philbin here.
Right.
Nothing to prepare you for that. I had reached out to him because I was writing a story for my column on a gentleman named Phil Booth, who was the former president in charge of Good Morning America from 85 to 95, a very dear friend of mine. And I wanted Regis's feedback. So Regis calls me. But let me tell you, Wendy, what he did. And he was, advanced in years at that point in time. He spent that 15 minutes treating me as if I was the most important person, as if talking to me was the most important thing he had to do that day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Regis gave me. And I try to walk in his shoes like that.
And your keynote is the
Yeah.
importance of being important.
Right.
Yeah. So did that come from that learning from Regis, or how did you develop that thought?
I think that's always been there. A gentleman who's, he's a wonderful, wonderful sales instructor, who's written all these books, Jeffrey Gitomer. I was talking to him many years ago, and I said, I just, people are important. I want to look for the best in people. That's what I'm about. I want to be positive. And he said, well, what you're really talking about is the importance of importance.
Mm-hmm.
We all want to be loved, acknowledged, noticed, heard, respected. There's so many words, but that is something we share in common.
I agree. Yeah.
And we want that. We need that. And then I had a woman named Rebecca Goldstein.
I was going to bring her up.
show.
Yeah. I just watched her show on your, I want to get her on my show.
The Mattering Instinct.
Yeah.
The Mattering Instinct. Rebecca Goldstein, from a Harvard professor, Harvard researcher, philosopher. And let me tell you, can I go on about what's hard? She's a Harvard philosopher. And I actually talked about this on the show. Am I smart enough to talk to you?
You did say
But I
that.
admitted it to her as I you know what? No, I am. I might not be, but I'm gonna pretend I am. And it was great.
It was.
Because
I
didn't tell myself no. I said, yep, I can handle this. Of course, the fact that she wrote this incredibly detailed book about the fact our physiological and emotional need to matter, she wrote my Bible. Yeah, you need her. Yeah, we've talked about this. You need her.
Yeah. And, I love that people are looking at this from different angles, right? Like, we look at it from an emotional angle, the importance of connection, the importance of purpose, and it feeds our soul and it feeds our health. And then we have these physicians and researchers, and, I had a doctor on a few weeks ago who talked about you cannot retire from purpose. He was a cardiologist.
Mhm.
And he goes, there's six domains of health, and purpose is one of them. You cannot retire. So I love it that we have all these people coming at it from different ways.
Wendy, let's flip it though. If you have someone in your life that has something to give and you feel they've retired from purpose and you can help, you need to get in there. I don't care if it's a parent, if it's a grandparent, if it's a neighbor. We all have the ability to make sure those people who may not feel loved, acknowledged, heard, choose your word. We have the ability to elevate those people and give them that sense of purpose. Don't be quiet. Don't be quiet. Speak up and help those people. It's so easy. We're a society that, for whatever reason, people get older and we ignore them. And when I say to you, I don't understand that, I believe that I have a track record starting at age 13, 14 that would prove that I've never understood why people don't value.
I wonder if it comes. I wonder if it comes from the, in the 60s when they started building the Del Webb communities and all this. So let's just put old people away into their own communities. And then they're not seen. They're not part of the general population. They're just over there in that little community. And so I think they become the other.
Glenn Campbell's wife, Kim, said something, and I'm going to have to paraphrase her. I interviewed her, and I will say my mother had Alzheimer's, and she was still living when I met Kim, and Glenn was still living. And I cried and Kim hugged me. I will say I got that level of support because I was so connected to the topic we were talking about. She goes, but someday she goes, sometimes I miss the days before labels when we could
Mhm.
just say, yeah, old granddaddy's he's just not quite himself today. But so we didn't have to call it dementia. We didn't have to label it. It's just
Mhm.
old granddaddy's not quite himself, and you just smiled and you went on, and old granddaddy hung out anyway. And we didn't make such a big deal. We accepted that. And I'm old enough. I'm from Missouri. I understand that. I understand those people, and we didn't necessarily. We did, older generations did what they could to make sure they kept their loved ones in the home.
Right. That's right.
Mhm,
And that has all changed now.
mhm.
Yeah. So, you keep going back to Missouri. How did you, the first time you started talking to all of these famous people, let's say, um, did you find them very different from the people that you grew up with, or are they really just like the rest of us?
No, they really are, and we say that, oh, famous people just like the rest of us. I don't. I mean, at first I was freaking out.
I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I was really talking to Jungle Jack Hanna. Called me because, yeah, I mean, I interviewed him, and I still pinch myself. Now, make no mistake, when I get to talk to someone and interview somebody, and typically I pick who I want to interview based on who I love.
Mm.
Because if I don't like you, you're not coming on the show. If I love you and admire you and respect you. So when I get to meet people that I admire, Norman Lear,
I know. Oh,
Norman Lear,
that's amazing.
you just, but they really people want to be treated like humans. And oftentimes they don't want to talk about what they're known for. I oftentimes interview people about something that's important to them that falls outside of an entertainment career or a music career or something like that. I will tell you, with Mr. Lear, he was 98 when I interviewed him. And I will tell you that what I said to him was, I really laid it on because I was like, he is Norman Lear and I'm laying it on thick and I don't care. But I explained to him, I said, you introduced me to people, Norman, that I never would have met in mid Missouri. I would not have met the Jeffersons.
Right. That's
I
right.
would not have understood what the Evans family in good times. I wouldn't have known that environment.
Yeah.
I would frankly never have met the Bunkers,
Mhm.
maybe a variation of the Bunkers.
Maybe you're
But
right.
you enter Ann Romano, One Day at a Time. He showed me that a single woman could raise kids and be fine.
Yeah, not part of your reality in Missouri, huh?
No, and it's not that. Now, I also did say, Norman, you owe me money. You took my grandma Jones, and you made her Edith Bunker, and you took my mom, and you made her Maud.
Oh,
Somehow
that's
you
funny.
got into our family, and
Yeah.
you took my grandma and my mom, put them on TV, and I need some cash, Norman.
There you
You stole my family and made money off them, and I didn't see nothing. So,
go.
but that's how real those people were in many
Yeah.
cases too. Yeah.
And what I love about the interviews that you do, like you said, you're not talking about their careers as much as you're talking about who they are. At this
Mhm.
late age, what are they still doing that keeps them relevant and interested in learning? I mean, that's what it's all about.
Please let me do a shout out to another very dear friend of mine, a gentleman named Sal Buscema, Buscema, Sal Buscema. Please look him up. Sal Buscema was an actor friend in Northern Virginia.
Mhm.
I had the incredible experience of playing Nico, the character of Nico in the musical of Zorba. Next to him is Zorba,
Oh.
but that's not what he's known for. Certainly,
Uh-huh.
he was a cartoonist, an illustrator, artist for Marvel Comics for over 60 years. He just passed away. I was devastated, but I interviewed him for the podcast 5 or 6 years ago. And at that point in time, he was in his 80s, I believe, and still working.
Why
If
not?
you talk to comic book people and they find out I know Sal Buscema, they lose their minds.
Hmm.
But here is a man who's so highly regarded in his field that he just kept doing it. Again, they say if you love your work,
That's it.
you
That's
never
it.
work a day in your life.
And so why stop?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
you talked about, and we kind of named this never retire from your purpose, but you have this idea of a retirement business. So get practical with me. What does that look like for you at 63?
It looks very similar to what I do now,
Mm-hmm.
but where I really want all of a sudden I'm 60 plus, and you all of a sudden get 60 plus, and as you know, you start going, whoa, things are going to change. What's this going to look like for me? Because up until then, you don't really think about it.
Mm.
60, 61, you're like, okay, what happens when I get on Medicare? Obviously, when we get on Medicare, that changes a lot for a
Oh,
lot of
it's
us as
wonderful.
far as,
It's
yeah,
wonderful, darling.
yeah. I mean,
You
it's going to
love
be
that.
something that is a milestone that we're looking forward to.
Yes.
But it is, who am I going to be then? I celebrate all of you who have retired. And when I go onto Facebook and I see your retirement parties, and you're also happy and you're thrilled, I'm happy for you, but I'm sad because if you're celebrating the end of that career with relief, did you have a career or did you have a job?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm sad for those people who were forced to work at something simply for the purpose of earning a living, that they're celebrating being done with it. I
And
get it, and I honor you, and I'm not disrespecting you. I get it. That's what most of us do. That's what most people do. And good for you for doing that, because you took care of your family and you took care of yourself. But now's your time.
that's right. And now I want to flip it because you're celebrating that maybe you can be celebrating what's next for you.
Right.
All of those great things that you wanted to do, but you couldn't do because of the work that you had to
And
do.
it
So,
can make you money. My friend Susie Weinert, Susie wrote a book, Garage Sale Stalker.
oh,
In her 60s, Garage Sale Stalker. It got to Hallmark. Hallmark said, we like this concept.
mm-hmm.
Hallmark launched the Garage Sale Mystery series of films. There's like 18 of them.
Really?
Yes, based on Susie Weinert's novel.
I know. Garage sale mysteries. Okay.
Garage Sale Mysteries. There's like 18 different films. It's a series of films. And I think Susie was 60, 61, 62 when she started to even write them.
Hmm.
We're not done. And the other thing I will get on my high horse about, you
Mhm.
didn't know I was going to be on my high horse quite so much, did you? Well, you
I
did.
was
Yeah, you
hoping
probably
you
did.
would be.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I was.
We as a group, those of us who are of a mature age now,
Mhm.
we don't do enough to help each other. We don't. We absolutely don't. When we don't share each other's content on social media, we don't comment and like each other's content, we don't help each other grow. You know, buy people's books, buy their books, support them, share their content, talk to them, get engaged in their communities. There are millions and millions and millions of us with all sorts of economic buying power. We don't want things anymore, really, do we? I
Right.
don't want things. I got
Right.
enough things. But we have the power to promote and celebrate and make sure other people learn about the talents of people in our age group, because
Right.
we are connected
Right.
and we know
Absolutely.
people, and we don't do that.
Yeah. Well,
We don't.
I'm part of a group called the Age Wise Collective, and we do share each other's podcasts and like
Good.
and yeah. So I think you're absolutely right. It's very important to do that. And before I let you go, I do want you to tell us a little bit about your novel Ruby, which is in the mail to me. I can't wait to get it.
It is in the mail. I talked a little bit about this. Now you know the backstory. Cynthia Rhodes, thank you. Mark Victor Hansen, Chicken Soup for the Soul, thank you. Ruby is a labor of love. It is, Mark specifically did want older characters. He wanted to celebrate that. So all of the older characters, well, really, almost all the characters are 50 plus.
Mm.
It is a holiday book. It deals with loss, because at the time I'm writing that, and I'm still, you can't avoid it. As you get older, you lose people.
For sure.
you lose your pop culture icons. I still heard over Olivia Newton-John, that type, even people that meant something to you.
Right.
Cheetah Rivera, who I've talked to, and I have a wonderful Cheetah story. We lose Cheetah. We lose these people that mean something to us from afar, but we lose those people in our lives.
Right.
And part of my dealing with what loss meant was to explore it through this book, Ruby. And it's short. It's an easy read. All the characters are older. I will tip you off that the villain is life.
Mm.
The
Curious.
villain is life. The life is also the hero.
Interesting.
The villain is life and life is the hero. And it's how you live that. I'm really, really, really proud of it. And I'm working on a second one.
Ooh, like a
And
sequel or just
mhm.
oh,
A
good.
sequel. I actually have 3 planned, and we're gonna put it out in the universe. I've had several meetings about a film version. I do not have a film deal yet, but I've had some really positive discussions. It could take years, it could not happen at all. But Wendy, I'm 63 and I'm taking meetings in Hollywood, and I
I
never
love it,
thought that was
Randy.
going to happen.
To a boy from
I
Missouri.
never Yeah, I never thought it was gonna happen. I'm having the time of my life taking the meetings and talking about the potential. I want the movie. She deserves a movie. She does. She
Ruby
deserves a
does.
movie. Yeah,
Mhm.
she does. She deserves it more than I do. But how lucky am I that I'm still getting to do this? Yeah.
See, and there again, that's something that how lucky am I? I think part of what we forget sometimes as we get older is that practice of gratitude. You
Mhm.
know, there are so many things to be grateful for. Yes, maybe we're a little slower, maybe we're a little stiffer, maybe, this joint hurts and we've had loss, but there is still so much to be grateful for. And that it feeds into that optimism and it feeds into the purpose and it feeds into the health. So yeah, let's keep that going too.
And I am grateful to Peggy Post from the Emily Post Institute for being one of my best friends and changing the way I approach my life and gratitude and appreciation.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Thank you,
she's
Peggy.
wonderful.
Randy, it's been a great conversation.
Oh, this is great. Wendy, I'm so grateful to you.
This
Thank
has
you
been
for
so
doing
much
this.
fun. Let me show people where your website is. It's randallkennethjones.com.
Mhm.
And on his website, you'll see his books and you'll see the podcast, In the Nose. I don't know that we actually mentioned the name of it. So it's
Oh,
in
it's
in the
on the
nose.
nose,
On the nose.
on the nose,
Sorry.
Knows, on the Knows.
On the
It was also a
nose.
joke about the fact that my nose is huge. So my nose is substantial on my face, but on the nose, Knows. 8 years. Susan Bennett, the original voice of Siri,
That's
is my
right.
announcer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a really well done show. I've enjoyed listening to it since I found out about it. So thank you for that. Um, and if you are listening to this and you are inspired by this and you've laughed with us and you've thought about some of the things we've talked about, I encourage you to share this with your friends because, like Randy said, we need to get the word out. We need to let everybody know about all the great things we are doing as we are aging, and we are aging so well. So I think never retire from purpose.
No.
Never retire from purpose. Before I let you go, if you want more of this kind of conversation between episodes, join my free weekly newsletter, Thriving Through Time. And you can sign up for it at bit.ly/boomer banter newsletter. That will be in the show notes. Randy's website will be in the show notes. Any final words, Randy, before we go?
I'm going to go back to Susie Orman. Actually, I didn't know you were going to ask me this, and I met her 10 years ago, and she said something to me that haunts me in such a positive way. Even though she's known for financial advice, she was actually majored in social work. And if you really think about Susie, I think that's who she is.
Oh,
Her quote to me was, "Every new moment you spend with anybody and anything has to be a new moment and not just a recreation of the past."
mm,
That's so hard,
Yeah.
That's almost impossible, and it's the best goal ever.
Wow. I like that. Thank you. Well, thank you so much again, Randy. My name is Wendy Green. This has been Boomer Banter, and I will see you all again in a week.